Ferrari of Silicon Valley. You gotta like those words together. That's my kind of car tech story. It's the 60th anniversary of Ferrari's existence. It was 1947. These cars first made their debut on the world stage, and they've never left the spotlight since. Let's go inside and take a look at some old, some new, and some tech. And I start there because, frankly, you wouldn't recognize 40s Ferraris as Ferraris, but 50s, you definitely start to see the look. 52, 53, we get the 342 America. Longer wheelbase to make, frankly, more legroom for big old Americans. They pushed the 60-degree V12 4.1 liter a little bit forward in the car, giving it a longer nose. The horsepower was pretty modest in those days, about 220 stock, up to 300 if you really had it tuned. Early 60s brings us what many say is the definitive, most collectible, most desirable Ferrari GT ever. 250 GTO. This car's worth about $15 million. Now the vehicle is very Spartan inside. You also see a very early instance of a 5-speed manual gearbox and a very prominent gate. Which brings us to the 70s, the early 70s to be specific. And here is the Daytona Spider. Yeah, if I had to have one. 4.4-liter V12, about 350 horsepower. Up front, there was a plexiglass headlight bar that was only there for 1 year because U.S. regulations mandated it go away, and the pop-up headlights appeared for the remainder of the run. Underneath the car, the first use of a fiberglass tub in a production consumer Ferrari. The 1980s gave us the first Ferrari supercar, and here it is, the 288 GTO. Looks like a 308, kinda, but it's not. 2.8-liter mid-engine V8 dual overhead cam, 2 turbos, intercooled, all in 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.8, 190 top end for the speed. Despite the fact that it was built for Group B racing homologation, it has lots of creature comforts. Check it out. I see air conditioning in there. AM/FM cassette was also a factory option. Also has electric power windows. This car represents the 1990s, the mid-90s F50, representing the 50th anniversary of Ferrari that was then very close. Under the hood, if you can call that a hood, is a 4.7-liter V12, 5 valves per cylinder, that's interesting, 520 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.7, well over 215 miles per hour top speed. The engine is a stressed member. It's part of the frame. Without it, the car's kind of jiggly. Now inside, lots of carbon fiber. That was really a new idea in the mid-90s, and that signifies the fact this car also has a complete carbon fiber tub and composite body panels. The instruments began to get high-tech too, a combination of analog and digital gauges on this vehicle. Which brings us finally to the year 2000, our last installment on the historical Ferraris, and what a way to end. Here is the Enzo. Under glass is the motor. 6-liter V12, of course, cranked up to a painful 11.2 to 1 compression ratio. This thing is a high-strung motor. That's how you get 650 horsepower without turbos, blowers, or tricks. This is the Manettino, the steering wheel-based, computer-oriented race control. Across the top of the wheel, if this thing was running, you'd have LEDs showing you the higher RPMs. They start blinking at 5,500 on up to the red line near 7,000. Of course, the paddle shifters are mounted here. There's no room for a radio. There are no electric windows in this thing. It's got cranks, all in the interest of simplicity, lightweight, and going fast. You know, it's easy to get jaded about Ferraris. Let's face it, one drives by and you think, oh yeah, some .com guy's IPO paid off. But when you're in the presence of the originals, you realize the heritage of the modern cars, and it really starts to ring true.